deliberation and consideration over the course of a month, at such time that the settlement agreement was originally tendered to the town. There have been negotiations between special counsel that are present here today, Cindy Laquadera and Tim Perry, along with myself and the town manager. And we've had input from members of the City Commission. There has been a diligent effort to bring this matter to an amicable and successful conclusion for the town. The matter is before the consideration of the Town Commission this afternoon. And Madam Mayor, that's where we're at this point. Is there is a case would be, if it's not settled this afternoon, it will go forward, and with the anticipated trial date in the first quarter of 2020.
Okay, so to back up just a little bit, on October 4th, the Commission tabled a proposed settlement, because there were a number of blanks that had to be filled in. The biggest two were the placement of an easement and third-party funding. The Commission was presented with a new proposal on Friday. As part of the proposal, an access point and easement from Deerfield was identified for the first time. And I'm hoping it comes up on the screen. No, that's not it. There you go. Okay, so 10th Street is running east-west on that photo. This is an aerial, and the access point, as you can see, comes right down to the south of the revetment. The revetment is that section of rocks with the park on top of it. Okay, so that is the easement that was proposed to us on Friday. There are multiple problems with designating this spot for access. The area is underwater on a regular basis, and access gets compromised. And there's a photo of October 12th, and the other one is from 9/27, September 27th. So that is the area for the proposed access point. In 2015, DEP would not recognize lateral public access between Deerfield Beach and Hillsboro Beach in the area by the Deerfield Beach revetment, which is between the tiny little rock pile to the right and the big rock pile to the left. Technically, no, go back to the picture technically that is supposed to be part of the beach, and that is supposed to provide a way for the public to run up and down along shore. But it disappears, and because it disappears when it gets flooded out, DEP would not recognize access for us. In other words, they use the fact that it flooded out to say, no, you really don't have public access. The same thing would obviously happen with the proposed access point. In order to be considered as adequate public access, uninterrupted access has to be in place for 10 years. What are the odds? This access point would create legal issues. In my opinion, I'm not an attorney, but I would certainly want to know about this, for the town and for Deerfield Beach, by encouraging the general public to trespass on private property, because that access point literally directs the public right onto private property. This is the area where Deerfield Beach installed stairs and a gate in 2016, and within a few months, the loss of sand made it totally unsafe and totally impassable. This is south of the revetment, and it is the most erosion-prone area of the entire beach. And having an access point right there puts the onus right back on Hillsboro Beach to take care of keeping sand on the beach. With regard to third-party funding, we ascertained last week that the county is not willing to contribute funding. So the scenario where the state pays 50% and the county pays 50% of what's left doesn't fly. The reason for that is that the county beach money comes from what's called TDT, which is tax dollars related to tourism comes from hotels and restaurants, and we don't have any hotels and restaurants. Also, we found out that the feds consider a 1 mile stretch of beach, which is the length of the project that we would normally do, too small to warrant even the cost of a baseline study. So third-party funding was dramatically reduced after some legwork last week. This proposal that's on the table meets Deerfield Beach's goals. We all have goals. Deerfield's goals are to keep their groins and not to have to pay directly to Hillsboro Beach for any of the damage caused by the groins. But it doesn't come close to meeting Hillsboro's groins, which are to have a beach and not to have to shoulder the burden of the cost to repair the damage from the groins. I personally am really disappointed. I felt like with some minor changes to the proposal that we received on October 1st and October 4th actually, and a reasonable location for an easement, the two municipalities could have worked together. Deerfield refused our request for minor changes and offered us an easement that makes absolutely no sense. So after many, many, many hours of diligent efforts, the town has no choice but to pursue the lawsuit to remove the groins. So I would like to open this up to the public for comment. We will take a vote. I would require that you keep your comments minimal, under 3 minutes, but since everybody's here, I want to go ahead and open it up. Is there anybody who would like to comment? Mr. Tarrant, you need to approach this is not a plant.
We hardly see each other.
That's because I live at Town Hall now.
Yeah. I just want to make one comment. And I spent a lot of time making believe I'm reading the paper and listening to her on the phone. And the thing that strikes me about this is the insincerity of Deerfield. They put in front of us a plan to get monies from the state and the county, knowing that it was impossible because of what Deb just said. They had to know. That's what we're dealing with. And that's not the way to negotiate. If they didn't know, I'd be shocked.
Anybody else? Just keep in mind the purpose of this is not to rehash old issues and not to bash Deerfield. We're just voting on the settlement proposal.
I understand. I'm Patty Larkin from Mediterranean, and I'm just going to agree with everything. But I think Deerfield would not go for a different easement because this would be in their best interest, as well as Hillsboro Beaches, to not follow the lawsuit and remove the groins, but to change the easement so it's safe for people and tourists of Deerfield and Hillsboro Beach and whoever else. They really will not.
They really would
let
not.
you table this maybe and go for a different easement. They said no?
They said no.
I'm very disappointed as well. Very disappointed. I thought they want what's in best interest of everybody, and this is not. I'm very disappointed. Thank you for all your work, commissioners.
Thank you. Jane.
I'm shorter than Rich. Jane Riser, LeBaron. There's no winning in this situation. I think everybody already knows that. I just need to express that I feel sorry for the commission because I know a lot of hours have gone into this. I feel sorry for the people living in Port Demire. I don't care if you live at the last house at the end of the town, it affects all of us. And I thank you all for all your hard work because it's a no-win situation, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm the new kid on the block.
The new kid on the
New
block.
kid on the block, yeah, only 7 years. Jerry Rathman from Sunrise.
how does this affect the replenishment then of the beach? I mean, it's been replenished, this will be the third time in 10 years. So we gotta either get rid of the groins or do something, or we're just gonna keep running into the same situation.
Well, actually, we will be pursuing removal of the groins at this
Right.
point. That
Right.
is, yeah.
I say go for removal of the groins, don't give in to it. I mean, that's ridiculous to have that access. Again, you know, you got Port Demire, then you got Sunrise. Our beach is gone and has been gone for some time, and then we get a beach back and have access. We're gonna have everybody down there. And I like our beach being private.
Well, you'd like to have a beach, first of all.
Well, that's first of all, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got an upper beach.
Thank you. Yes, Mo Tarifi.
I don't like the idea of hearing everybody saying.
Oh, Mo, introduce yourself and for the
Well,
record.
you introduced me.
Oh, well, that's right. I did.
So, but I will.
Your address, sir?
I'm sorry?
Your address, please.
I can't,
Where you live.
Address.
address. Okay, my address is 1237 Hillsboro Mall.
Thank you, sir.
I don't like to hear people say remove the groins. First of all, there are no groins. You know, there are 3 groins at the end, or the most southern groins. These are groins. Why? Because they were altered to become groins. Everything else, rock piles. We need to understand this. And then when we're dealing with Deerfield or in court, we cannot say we want Deerfield to remove groins. We have to be very specific. I proposed removing 3 groins and 3 rock piles and replace them with PEMs. The PEMs tend to eliminate the potential for erosion at Deerfield Beach. I think this is the kind of approach that we should follow, not we insist on removing the groins. The other thing, the whole idea behind having an access, a public access, is illegal. You can't have a public access on private beach. You have to get the proper approval for that. That's all I have to say.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'm gonna say something. My name's Hiram Clyde. I really am a new guy. I am at Fort Demire. I agree with removal of all 19
Could you
goals.
spell your last name?
Max Lock.
Okay.
MACGLAUGHLIN.
Was that first name Matt?
Harry.
Harry.
Harry McLaughlin is all Scottish.
Thank you, sorry.
I agree with the removal of groins. I understand that the access that they're proposing is very dangerous and it really dumps people onto the private property. The access from Deerfield private for the public to access our public access part of the beach, which is the wet sand from Deerfield, I understand it also, and it's impossible to do. You know, so I believe removing the groins, drilling down, that's the problem. Deep down, the groins are there, taking our sand, keeping our sand there. And it may take years for those groins to be removed, and it may take years for sand to finally replenish. I think there still needs to be a replenishment once the groins are gone. And there will need to be a replenishment of our beach, which unfortunately is going to cost a lot of money. But I agree with what the council is hopefully leaning toward when I hear at the moment. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Harry.
My name's Stephen Berkowitz. I'm a resident at Port Demire, 1239. And I very much appreciate the work that the Commission has been doing on this. I read all of your letters, Deborah, and I appreciate being kept informed of the circumstances. And I do have a significant problem, obviously, with them putting access right on the end of the beach there, which is on private property, right? What do they have? 3 feet of public access, and then it's on private property. And as a resident there, I've had to be involved in cleaning up the beach after our visitors that are not residents there have been there. So yes, we need to do something in that access. It is not an appropriate place to do that.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, I will close public comments, and I would ask for a motion from the commission.
I'm going to make a motion not to approve the agreement between Deerfield Beach and Hillsboro Beach.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Curtis,
Yes.
Commissioner Feynman,
Yes.
Commissioner Baldassar.
Yes.
Mayor Tarrant,
Yes,
with unanimous vote, motion carried.
thank you. Okay, and I believe that was the last item on our agenda, our 12-hour agenda. So I would just ask for a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yes, we do. We need to vote on the adjournment.
If we can do roll call for adjournment. Excuse me, Commissioner Baldassar.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Curtis.
Yes.
Commissioner Feynman.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Mayor Tarrant.
Yes.
Mayor Tarrant, at 4:16, we are adjourned.
Thank you.